Dusty, I'm Phil Anderson. How are you?
I'm doing well, Phil. I'm Dusty. Been the longest term employee here at eBikesusa.
Okay, yeah, great. Nice establishment. Glad to know it's here in Denver.
Thank you. It's been 5.5 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's about how long I've lived in Colorado.
Okay, right on. Where'd you come from?
Came from North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Good morning, everyone. This is Hushmand. I'm here with Dusty and Phil. And today we want to talk about these bikes. These are by Heybike. The model is called Alpha. And there's a story about how we came across these bikes and why we felt we should do this video and share some experiences with you. So I'd like to start with Phil. Phil, welcome. You're one of our customers now. But you also brought us two bikes, the Heybike that you and the missus had purchased. Tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you came across these bikes?
So I did nothing but internet searches. The wife and I both retired this year recently in June. I bought these bikes in April because this was our plan to be kind of our physical fitness during retirement. We're both in our mid-60s right now.
Well, congrats on the retirement.
Thank you very much. And so yeah, we ordered them online and that process was really good. They were fairly priced. The sale was good. All of that was good until we got a little farther down the road.
So you ordered these online, you assembled them yourself?
I assembled them myself. They were mostly assembled. The instructions were good. It was easy to assemble. I really have no complaints about that part of the process.
So why did you choose these models and this brand? I mean, was it the ads? What caused you to order this?
Yeah, I'm an e-bike novice. I've been riding bicycles for the better part of almost 60 years, but first e-bikes, first soiree. So I did a lot of research. I looked at every brand that was out there. Their marketing was very good. What they said was very good. And the mid-drive was the, what they kind of made as a sales point. So I looked at their website. All of that is really great, but go ahead.
So these were, the big attraction about these were good ads. Mm-hmm. You probably watched a few YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. And then everyone talked nicely about them. Mm-hmm. You also liked the idea that they were mid-drive.
Yep. Not
to mention at a great price. Do you mind what you paid for these?
Yeah, I paid just under, right around $1,500 plus tax.
Okay, so Dusty and I think you looked them up, Dusty. They're on sale right now for Black Friday for $12.99. Mm-hmm. And they're offering some accessories with it too, right? For mid-drive, that's a great price. Yeah. I mean, I'll be the first one to acknowledge that that's a hell of a price.
Yeah, even at the normal retail, which is $16.99, it's a pretty solid price for a mid-drive that puts out that kind of power.
And that was actually the hook that made me pick this bike, was that not knowing much about e-bikes, I said, look, this is just a phenomenal price, a new line of bikes, blah, blah, blah for the price. So I didn't really understand the other ramifications, but up front, that's what looked good.
Okay, so the boxes arrived, you assembled them. You guys have started riding. I do have a question. You're a taller gentleman. Mm-hmm. You're certainly taller than I am. How did the frame felt once it arrived? Did it feel the right size, or you felt, I wish I had a bigger bike?
I wish I had a bigger bike, and that was one of my complaints to Heybike, which I sent them. I'm 6'1", so I don't think that's an unreasonable height for an e-bike. So the post, though, however, came really short, and you couldn't adjust it to the height. So minimal expense, but that was the first thing I had to do, was replace the seat post so I could get it adjusted correctly to my height. Yes.
Good. Well, that's a good safety, to make sure you have a long enough seat post that if you sit comfortably to pedal, you have enough support underneath you. So you guys had the bikes. For how long did you have them?
So I ordered them in April. We started riding them in early May. And we're fortunate enough, we live right on a 8-mile improved track right by our house around a reservoir. So we rode them almost every day for the first several months.
And enjoying them, life is good.
Enjoyed them, life is good.
What happened then?
So I started first to notice on my bike, there was this banging sound when you started pedaling. And it just progressively got worse and worse and worse. So I reached out to Heybike customer service for some assistance. And basically they told me it's a derailleur problem.
So they responded to you?
They responded me. And what I've noticed with Heybike is I've called them and they didn't answer. But I've texted them and they did answer. But the most response I got from them was email. And so I would email a question or a request to their support. It takes about 24 hours to get a response, and then you start to realize that the response is probably AI generated or coming from somewhere else. I didn't feel like I ever really talked to an actual
Individual.
human being. Yes.
Right. And at first they said the problem is with the derailleur and the gears?
Yeah, and they offered to sell me a derailleur at the remarkable price of $60 plus shipping and handling. So I went for that, and then the next day I said, okay, if I need a derailleur and I have to pay for it, I'll pay for it. And they said, well, we'll give you the derailleur, you just have to pay the $15 shipping. So in that 2-week process, I actually bought the same derailleur off of Amazon for $15.
Sure, which was the cost that they charged you.
Yeah, that's right.
And then did the derailleur solve the problem?
It did not, it wasn't even close. So I took the bike to another bike shop, not here, that charged me a pretty significant fee to do any work on it because they didn't sell it to me, plus a derailleur. So they adjusted the derailleur, gave it back to me, which is what I asked for. I got home, exact same problem.
So it wasn't a derailleur?
It was not a derailleur.
It was a motor issue?
It was not a motor issue.
Oh, what was it then?
It was the chain in the cassette, which I had no idea about, but apparently on a mid-drive bike, that was a very vulnerable part that was not covered by warranty. So I ended up taking it back to the same bike shop to change the chain and cassette, and that process took well over a month.
Okay, because they couldn't get the parts?
Couldn't get the part, couldn't get the wrench to get the cassette off, and this was a reputable bike shop. They had all kinds of tools, but they didn't have that tool, didn't have that derailleur.
So Dusty, you've dealt with it. Is this a case where a company has put together a bike utilizing the least expensive components, and some of those components are not common components?
That does tend to happen. They got to meet a price point somehow.
So they shortchange some stuff. Okay, so you finally replaced that.
Yep.
Did that solve the problem?
It solved the immediate problem. That took about a little over a month to get that resolved, which meant I wasn't riding for a month or doing anything. I finally got it home. It worked great for about 3 or 4 days.
And then what happened?
Then I don't know what happened because now the pedal assist doesn't work at all. For no reason whatsoever, it just stopped working. So an e-bike without a pedal assist is not...
It's a heavy bike.
Yeah, it's a very heavy bike that's very difficult to pedal. So, and I am currently in that state with Heybike right now, and it's not going anywhere.
How long has it been you've been in communication
About
with them?
3 weeks on this go-around.
And have they responded this
They
time?
respond relatively frequently, but all the responses I get appear to be AI generated. They give me suggestions on what to do. So the most recent suggestion was, well, line up this magnet, that must be the problem. Or the whatever, all the parts inside the motor, that must be the problem. But what I've asked for is, where can I take this bike in Denver to get it warranted? And the answer is, we don't have a warranty for you.
Wait, they said they do not have a warranty for you?
Yeah, they have a warranty, but we don't have a bike shop under contract to fix that for you. And
But they have dealers in Denver.
Yeah, well, they haven't pointed me to those because they've pointed me to 3 different bike shops off their website, and all 3 that I've contacted have pretty much disavowed having a relationship with Heybike.
So even though those companies are listed on their website
That's
as
right.
dealers,
That's right.
the stores
That's right.
don't acknowledge that they have a business relationship with Heybike.
Yeah, and that felt kind of deceptive to me because I build things for a living. I've been a construction superintendent for 25 years, and warranty and service is very important, and I couldn't get it from Heybike. That's the bottom line.
So you essentially have a bicycle, heavy bicycle,
Yeah,
that you paid for,
yep,
that doesn't have pedal assist,
that's right.
and you're at a point where Heybike is not responding.
They respond, but every day it's a different thing. Like, well, why don't you try this? Why don't I try to fix this, and this? And my understanding is that motor is one of the only things that is covered by the warranty. Yet they're not assisting with
Acknowledging
that.
that.
That's right.
Well, that's probably the most expensive part of this bike,
I wouldn't-
alongside the battery, right,
Right.
Dusty?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really sorry for your experience of what you're sharing with me. However, this is not the first time we've heard this story. A lot of times, companies that create a bike, their goal is to sell the bike. Their goal is not to manage a long-term relationship with that consumer and support that consumer. Their job, they feel their job ended when that box left their warehouse.
And that's my
what it
biggest
is.
lesson learned from this process, was going straight to the internet and then no real ability to repair it, maintain it, service it, unless I learn how to do that and become like some kind of bike mechanic.
So I know, Dusty, we have been receiving emails, not every day, but once in a while we get an email from Heybike that they would like us to become their dealer, okay? We never responded to them. We never acknowledged that, hey, this is a brand we want to carry in our store. Can you share with me why that our take was that this is not the brand for us?
Well, I imagine it's probably a few different things, but the biggest is that we've seen a lot of companies that really focus on their online presence and their particular price points, and with some splashy features that they got to cut costs somewhere, and the most obvious place is typically customer support, and with that in mind, dealer support, because we have to be there to help the customer, and if they're not willing to do it directly, then they're probably not willing to do it with us either. And then that gets to be a hassle, because then we're trying to do the same thing that you're trying to do, and then we're the middleman, and you're upset with us, and then we're upset with them, and then it just becomes a bit more of a headache than it's worth. And then at that point, we just have too much time and too.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are
Welcome.
you?
Thanks for back there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Take care. Welcome.
Too much time invested and too little profits available to help make up the difference. Yeah.
So I know we've had a few cases where people have brought us Heybike branded bikes for service, and I had never seen their mid-drive. I've only seen their hub drive bikes.
Yeah, their folding bikes are fairly more common.
Yeah. So one of the things that I observed when I receive a request to become a dealer, I go check out their online presence, just like Phil did. And I'll look at the bikes and so forth. And you and I, we watch a lot of YouTube videos. We watch a lot of reviews. We have experience based on what we see on these bikes. And I felt this is a company that caters to that $9.99 market, $12.99 market when it comes to hub drives. And this bike, and they have another bike that's, I think it's a full suspension hub drive, fat tire bike. These are the more expensive bikes, $15.99 price point. But I noticed this bike was on $12.99. Now, truthfully, there are some good things about this bike.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why you've test ridden it, I've test ridden it. We have never ridden the black one because it's not functional. This is your wife's bike.
Yeah.
You and I rode this bike and so forth. So tell me 3 things that are good about this bike out of the box.
Sure. I mean, the most obvious thing is going to be the motor. Well, notwithstanding a current issue here, but in general, when the motor's working properly, it's a very nice motor. It has plenty of power. What
brand of motor is this?
It's made by a company called Byers, which I personally have experience with. One of my 3 e-bikes does have a Byers hub motor, and I've been very, very happy with the performance of that and their subsequent components that like their bottom bracket torque sensor on my bike is really nice. So I was very excited to try this motor.
Sure.
And it does things very well. It has plenty of power. I would say the second thing is probably the weight. Obviously, 70 pounds is not nothing, but when we're considering a fat tire bike with, fenders, rack, front suspension, that kind of stuff, that is considered very light. That's at least probably 5 to 10 pounds lighter than most similar fat tire bikes that are.
We've seen 88-pound fat tire bikes with just one motor, one battery.
Exactly. So I would say that's definitely pretty nice. And then.
What is the battery size? What we're talking about?
That's a 680 watt hour.
So it's not 15. It's less than 15.
Yeah, just a little less than that.
So that's probably why it's a little bit lighter. It's a smaller battery.
Right.
And I have a feeling this motor, it's a lighter weight motor than some of the hub drives that we've seen the bigger hub drives.
Yeah, that's fair. And of course, the weight distribution is nice because of the mid-drive part. And then let's see, the third thing, it's fairly well equipped out of the box. You got your fenders, you've got your rack. The components are pretty decent for the price point. The brakes are unbranded, but they are very solid. They work pretty well.
They kind of reminds me of I feel like this is a clone brakes.
Yeah.
It's an unbranded, but it looks like a Tektro.
Yeah, and they feel very solid. So I don't know about long term and what it would be like to bleed and all that. I'm not on the mechanic side of things, but as far as out of the box, they feel pretty solid. So I would say those are
the three.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with on my side of it. One of the things when I rode this bike, the first thing I noticed, and we haven't even got to the big part yet. The first thing I noticed was the ergonomics, the hand position. For a step through or high step, it has what I consider more of a mountain bike style. It's not a little bit more comfort oriented cruiser.
Yeah.
Phil is tall and he has the long arms, but for someone like me who has shorter arms, it's a little bit over. I have to bend down too much and for my comfort. That was the first thing I noticed. But the biggest issue I saw with this bike was it was a mid-drive bike, but it came with a throttle. And that throttle is a grip throttle on the handle, it's a half grip. Tell me a little bit about what you experienced on the throttle.
So I took it out for a spin before I looked at any reviews, just so I'd have my own opinions before I got colored by someone else's. And so I didn't have any idea how the throttle was set up. And so the first time I hit it, I'm like,
Doesn't work.
That's interesting. I'm not moving any faster, and I'm not going very fast right now. So I kept trying the throttle and kind of got a little blip, and I was like, oh, there's something. Oh, I guess not. This is my imagination. So yes, the throttle is definitely a little underwhelming, to say the least. Come to find out, main reason being is that they were very worried with the torque that the motor puts out, which is 105 newton meters, which is on the higher side of things. That they were worried about the drivetrain, cassette chain kind of stuff holding up, especially to the casual user who's not always used to how to utilize the mid-drive power with the gearing properly, and that can cause some trouble. So they limit the throttle so you don't end up hurting anything more than you should. So they have throttle after pedal, so you have to get up to 5 miles an hour before it'll even bother to kick in, and then at that point, it only puts out a max 200 watts, and then it'll go down to 50 watts to try to maintain whatever. And when you're on a 70-pound bike and you're larger gentlemen like Phil and I that are 200-ish, we'll say, and that's not enough to keep you can barely even keep your own momentum on a flat area like at 10, 12 miles an hour. And that's not the kind of throttle experience you would typically get on a fat tire bike. And so it's just like, why bother at this point?
Well, when I rode it, first thing that came to my mind was, I experienced the same thing, and first thing that came to my mind was the throttle was an afterthought. This motor was a beautiful motor, it's a smooth motor, and I'm praising it. It's a MyVice motor. Obviously, Heybike partnered with them to install this motor on this bike. I feel like this motor wasn't designed to have a throttle. The throttle comes secondary. It was really a pedal assist bike. And I know about the gears and why they do that.
And I would say the lack of shift sensor ties into that whole concept too.
And I think, Phil, the reason they pointed you to the gears immediately, this bike doesn't have a shift sensor. That means when you're pedaling and the motor's running and you shift, you could have a big clunk. It's like a hammer hitting those gears. So they're worried about gears wearing out and so forth. So that's why they pointed you that way. But I don't think the problem had anything to do with the gears or the derailleur. At best, the derailleur may have needed an adjustment, but not a replacement.
Yeah, that was.
I agree.
I would venture to say, again, cutting costs on customer service, part of that means that you're not typically hiring someone that is coming from a very experienced place on how to work on these things.
Well, according,
I haven't
Phil
talked to
thinks there's
anybody.
not even
Yeah.
a person on the other end, right?
So yeah, and that's probably part of that too. But they're not going out of the way to hire an experienced mechanic to be like, oh yes, I've seen this because I've put 10 of these together, and one of my friends had it, and this had this problem. I can figure this
Right.
out. You need to do this, this, and this, and try this, and then
And no one's riding the bike on their side to try to mimic what Phil has experienced.
they got somebody off the internet for a few dollars, so they answer the phones or emails, and then
That's exactly
or
what I
just
think
emails.
is
Like it sounds
happening.
like yeah.
So that is a typical, gentlemen, I mean, we all know that this happens
In a lot of industries, to
in
be
a lot
fair.
of industries, but apparently it's pretty rampant in the e-bike industry. Unrelated to what you're experiencing, I received a phone call this morning before you came in. A gentleman is wondering where his bike is. And I'm like, what brand is it? And it's one of those Amazon
Oh, yeah.
bikes. But when he searched for service for that brand of bike, we showed up because of our SEOs and the fact that we have a large service center. So he called us, and it was clear that when I searched for that company, even the AI generated responses was warning me that this is a scam. This is a company that has had bad reviews. They didn't ship bikes. The bikes that they shipped are faulty and so forth. I'm not saying Heybike is one of those fly-by-night companies that sells stuff on Amazon. However, I strongly feel this is what I've seen happen. I've seen this movie before, and I'm going to go on the record when I say this. A lot of these companies are at best halfway decent hub drive bike company. Heybike hub drive bike probably doesn't have the experiences that you did. But they're also $9.99, $12.99. They wanted it to have a flagship, so they went out and partnered with MyVice, bought those motors, put them on a bike, poorly put together. And when I say poorly put together, I'm not talking about the components that went on there. I'm talking about the thought leadership that went into this bike. Poorly put together from a product management perspective, and the thought leadership that this is the bike we're putting together, this is the experience we want to provide for our customers. I doubt anybody did that.
Right.
They slap them together, they hit a price point, they advertise them. They probably spend more money on marketing than they do on their customer support.
Right, I agree with that. I was $1,500 in to buy the bike, $200 to fix it, just to fix the chain and cassette, and now I'm sitting here for, with a paperweight basically that doesn't even work. So from my perspective, it's way more than that. It's a financial problem as
And
well.
what's even worse is, you don't even have a shop that's willing to work on
I don't
that
know how I'm
bike,
going to fix this.
including us.
Yeah,
Including us.
I don't know
yeah.
how to fix that.
So that is, would you say you got your money's worth out of this
Absolutely
transaction?
not, no. I was completely taken aback. First of all, when I found that almost everything I'm looking at right now is not covered in the warranty. And that's maybe typical, but I didn't know that
It is
going
not,
in.
by the way.
Okay,
It
well,
is
there you
not.
go.
I mean, we sell brands that stand behind their products.
Yeah.
And they have support, dealer support, not just us, other stores that support them. So no, I don't think that's typical that parts on a bike is not covered under warranty.
Plus, there's another benefit of a larger local shop like us is that even if it's not technically covered under warranty, if we feel like the company is not doing them right,
we make sure
we'll
it's
either
done
fix it
right.
ourselves or we'll be able to apply a pressure to some like, hey, you want us to buy a bunch of bikes? Well, you guys haven't been treating us right, so we need this to be done,
Right.
and we'll be more willing to work with you on more bikes.
And that's part of the comments I got from some of the vendors on their website. We've tried to be in communication with them. We can't get the customer support either. We can't get parts. We can't get assistance. We can't get anything. So that's why we don't want to do any business with them.
So the other dealers told you that they have failed to get
That's right.
support from the company.
That's right.
That I don't want to use profanity, but that's pretty shitty. I hate to say it like that. I mean, the fact is they took $3,000 of your money.
Yes, on a fixed income, my first retirement, that was our retirement gifts to each other. So here we are.
I get it. I totally get it. Totally get it. Well, part of the reason we're making this video is this is not so much about us. This is about what Phil and our friends like Phil experience when they buy something online based on the reviews, based on marketing, based on the glossy pictures on their website. I mean, I was checking out the website this morning, and frankly, if I didn't know any better, I would say this is a great buy. I mean, how can I pass this up? But then they have experiences like this. And Phil, I hate to say it like this, you're not the only one. I don't know about Heybike, but I know other brands like it, or worse than this, that don't even ship the parts, or the bike arrives, the box is damaged, there are parts missing on the bike, and then they can't ride their bike because it's not safe to ride the bike
right.
without the missing parts. That happens more often than we like to see. That is the problem. One thing I will say about these bikes, when I looked at them myself and I started putting two and two together, I've seen this movie before. They slap a bike together just so they can have something, and frankly, they don't care if a bad review comes on, because for every one bad review, there are 99 other people that will read the good reviews. That's, frankly, some of them could be even fabricated, whether it's on Amazon, whether it's on their own website. There are people that I know reach out to us and offer us service to create reviews. How many reviews do you want? We charge this much for 500 reviews. And literally, in a matter of 2 days, we will have 500 new reviewers that says, what a great company this is, right? But they're all fabricated. I'm sorry that you're experiencing this. And when I look at what has happened here, you have two bikes, one of them is running, the other one isn't running, and the reason we met each other is you came in to shop for a bike,
That's right.
to buy a bike so you can go ride, so
That's
you
right.
can resume what you guys had started.
Yep.
And I believe you ended up with a Velotrek Nomad 2 in a large frame that fits you properly. You don't
Yep.
have to go buy a second
Right.
seat post, with good features, hub drive, and a dealer that stands behind it.
And that's the key right there, is, I wouldn't ever do this again. I would never buy a bike off the internet, unless I was an e-bike mechanic and I could fix everything and get the parts. I love the relationship, that having somebody local that stands behind their product, very important.
So I do want to talk about your wife's bike. Thank you, but I want to talk about your wife's bike. So we recently started a trade-in program, and frankly, we didn't know what to expect. It was just something else to try to see, what can we do? And part of it, the genesis of it was, we had customers that we sold bikes to in the past 5 years that have asked us, would you take a trade-in? Their needs had changed. They wanted a different bike, maybe a fat tire bike. They had a skinny tire bike, or vice versa. So we tried this trade-in program, and I remember your wife came into the store with you while you were shopping. How did the idea about trading in her bike toward another bike like yours in her size, where did that come from?
Well, even though she's not experiencing the full problems that I did with my bike, I'm very concerned about the future. Like, we're on a fixed income, we're retired. We wanted to get out from under that bike because of this exact problem that I'm having here. So I suggested to her, let's trade yours in, because we just need, even though we're going to lose a ton of money on both these bikes, we need something we can count on, something that's reliable, and somebody who stands behind it. So that's the real reason.
So I'm very pleased to say that we took the bike in as trade-in, and I did my best to help out with the scenario, but even we offered you $400, and even that I felt was too risky for our business, because one, I don't know what to do with the bike just yet, but I'm also afraid to sell it to somebody else, and if they run into an issue, now I'm responsible. So, and I know you probably felt, oh my God, we're losing so much money. And truthfully, I probably should have offered you $200 for this bike because of the reasons that we just talked about, and so on. That is a true scenario that happens 80% of the time. People that buy stuff online, they have a good experience. 20% have less than desirable experience with no support, and that's where it gets really difficult. One thing I will say is, I went and looked online, Electric Bike Report did a review of this bike, and I thought they were very fair, and they called it. They talked about the throttle just like we did. They talked about the good and the not so good parts of it. However, majority of the influencers' videos people see online are paid reviews. What that means is they pay them to review the bike. They also give them a referral code that they put on the channel to say, hey, if you buy this bike and use this, you're helping our channel. They're getting kickbacks. They're getting anywhere from $50, $100, some of them get $200 per bike. In a sense, they're selling bikes. They're no different than Dusty and I that sell bikes. The only difference is we stand behind our products. Those influencers that sell bikes like that, you never contact them for support.
Right.
Good luck getting a hold of one of those guys to fix your bike. They basically say, if you have any problems, call Heybike, and we see how that works. Well, my friend, I'm really sorry that you've experienced this. I actually wouldn't mind doing my best to help you with your bike. I can't guarantee anything. We don't have any experience clearly with this company, and I intend to contact them and see what happens. I will be extremely surprised to see them shipping us a new motor.
Yeah.
But who knows, they may surprise us, and I'm hoping that that would be the case. Well, thank you very much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. Dusty, thank you for the research you've did into this bike, these bikes. Thank you for watching this. Hope you found it entertaining, at least. Marketing keeps reminding me that I gotta say, please join our channel, subscribe, like, share, do all that. It really will help us. And no, we're not getting a kickback from Heybike. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if I get a nasty email from them. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you.